They say that first love is something you will never forget. In my case, I will never forget it because it taught me a lesson I will keep through all my life. My name is Helen, and I was 15 at the time. Listen to what happened. I was studying at school when all my female friends suddenly started getting boyfriends, our age or a bit older. I was looking at them, clearly envious. I wasn't the prettiest one, but I was also ready for my first romantic story. I was the only single among my friends, and felt really awkward when we went out and they brought their dates with them. But one day, my prayers were heard. I went to the mall alone, and as I was hanging around, a guy came up to me to ask my number. We chatted for a while. I thought he was quite attractive, and a fairly interesting person to talk to. When I came home, he sent me a message and we started chatting. We chatted and chatted nearly all night through, and by 9 a.m., when I came to school, I was head over heels in love. After school, we agreed to meet up for a cup of coffee. When I saw him again, I felt my heart beat faster, and it's hard to breathe. My love's name was Joe, and he was 19. It was pretty thrilling that he was so much older than me, and he turned his attention to humble me. While we were taking coffee, I couldn't take my eyes off of him, and he seemed also very interested in my life, asking lots of questions. Then, he took my hand, and it felt like an electric charge in my fingers. At the end of our date, yes, it was a real date, he gave me a slight kiss. Gosh, I was the happiest girl in the universe. I made a selfie with him to have a material proof that it was not a dream. Next day, I couldn't keep it to myself. I came to school and I told everything to my friends and showed them our selfie. They smiled in disbelief and asked if I was sure he wasn't too old for me. I snorted. This female envy was just pathetic. In the meantime, he was texting me all the time. I was at the lessons and couldn't respond at once, and he wrote me angry messages if I delayed an answer. Oh, so cute, I thought. He cares so much. When I came home, I boasted to my mom I had found a boyfriend and told her about him. She frowned, looked at the selfie, and frowned even more. I disapprove, she said. He is too old for you, and you will get problems with him. I just ignored, and Mom didn't insist. She had always been giving me quite a lot of liberty. So I entered my love story without common approval. And that was okay for me as far as my new boyfriend Joe was interested in me. He kept messaging me, and we met nearly every day. Unfortunately, he refused to meet my friends and told me that he didn't want me to meet his. I agreed because I thought that keeping our relationship half secret is very romantic. Sometimes he became pushy with me. Apart from the fact that I was supposed to respond him at once, he always made me meet him anytime he wanted, even if it wasn't comfortable for me. It happened pretty often, and I was getting a bit nervous because of this. I also didn't like that sometimes he gave me a lift home in the evening and got a little handsy. I was so in love with him that I accepted it, but I didn't feel comfortable about it. Still, I loved him so much, and he was the most beautiful, the smartest, and all in all, the best boyfriend for me. But one day, I got my eyes open. We were supposed to meet at 6 p.m. near the mall, but I came a bit earlier. I saw Joe with other guys, and he was chatting happily with them. I was glad that finally he could present me to them and I would become his official girlfriend. I was coming up to them, Joe not seeing me, when I heard what he was saying. You know, I got that 15-year-old idiot who's madly in love with me, and she is sure I am her soulmate. She's ready to do anything I want. You know what I mean? And they were all roaring with laughter. I froze. It was as if someone had given me a punch in the stomach. I first wanted to leave, but then frustration and anger rose in me. I directed myself towards them, and facing Joe made a monologue about him being a pathetic moron. In a nutshell, I said, "You think you are funny taking advantage of a nice, humble girl? At least I've been sincere all the time. And now think how cool you are having a 15-year-old idiot shouting at you in front of everyone. And I left with dignity. Last thing I noticed was his expression of embarrassment and amused faces of his friends that I hope will remember this episode long enough. I came home all in tears and ran to my mom for support. A wise woman. She told me it would pass, but she hoped I would learn the lesson. And indeed, I did. And it was useful for me all the relationships to come. From that moment, I was more attentive to what people I am with really represent and what my friends and family think about them. I'm glad that that episode was my first step towards the maturity. If you have a similar experience of toxic relationships, share it in the comments. Also, please subscribe, like, and share this video to let everyone know how attentive they should be when they start a new relationship with a person they don't know well.